Just stop. You want to be marketing a very specific thing. So anytime you have more than 3 or 4, your audience is already confused. They're like, what do I click? Who am I? What do I do? So instead, really think about what are the most important links that I want to include that will maybe capture just what I'm marketing right now. So it could be timely.
Pull up a cup of coffee and let's get this party started.
We're the uplines you didn't know you needed, but now you have.
This is the podcast for women who are building a direct sales business but want to do it the right way.
Melanie has a decade of experience in direct sales. She's earned the top in industry 4 years in a row and has grown a multi-million-dollar organization. She gives a no BS approach to leadership, recruitment, and organization.
And my bestie Katy has you covered with the rest. From the relationships, the do's and don'ts of branding, her content has been viewed by millions. She doesn't just talk the talk, but she teaches people how to create an intentional brand too.
All right, let's get this party started. Well, hey everyone, it is Katy of the Direct Sales Done Right podcast with a solo episode to talk about something that you have been asking me about. You've been craving, and I know this because my social media has been blowing up with questions, needs, and examples of how to write a really good Instagram bio. I know. Raise your hand right now if you are always thinking about what to put in your IG bio. You're overthinking everything about it. Because let's face it, it's kind of like your resume, but for potential consumers or potential team members. And so when you look at your IG bio, you're not just looking at it as a place for people to see who you are and what you're all about. It's also something that people are wondering, okay, well, what can she do for me? So the bio doesn't just include that little part where you describe who you are, things you love. You really are looking at everything from username to name field as well. So we're probably going to end up doing 2 parts for the Instagram bio glow up. But I want to start by sharing with you that there's an incredible free resource for you to begin writing the IG bio that actually gets you sales and signups, brings in the right people to follow you, and keeps them there. And it starts with your bio. So make sure you download that free resource that's right in the show notes. Okay. I am done babbling. What I want to talk about now is just dive into what you need. So the 4 things that we're going to talk about today are the general ones. We're going to get into the nitty gritty of the actual bio in another episode. But the first thing that we want to talk about today is our username. So the username is the first name that is above your profile. So if you go to your Instagram account right now, it is the one that is above. That is basically what you would say at, and mine is, of course, Katy writes content, but you would be at username. So here is what you need to know. Your username is not your brand. It should not be the company that you work for, and it should not be just a general statement where you have underscores and numbers, because it's not really memorable. Username is really somebody's first introduction to who you are or what you stand for. So there's a couple things that you want to take into consideration. First, yes, you can absolutely just have your name if it's a common name. Now, let's say your name is Stephanie Smith. Well, there's about 1 million Stephanie Smiths, right? So chances are the name Stephanie Smith is taken. So what do? You decide, all right, well, I'll do Stephanie_Smith. Well, that one's taken too. So then you go, okay, I'm going to do Stephanie_Smith 22, 33, 44. And then you realize, wow, this is kind of like no significance. People from the outside probably don't understand it. Or now all of a sudden you don't become searchable as Stephanie Smith. And so you want to think outside the box. So for some people, if you want to keep your name, it works for you, it's you, go for it. The second thing though is to consider, okay, what do I specialize in? What do I maybe want to be known for? What makes me unique? What showcases my personality? Is there something memorable about it or alliteration in some way? So I'll give you a couple examples. Melanie Mitro is just Melanie Mitro. It's totally fine. And she has also branded herself as Melanie Mitro. It works really well. for me, I decided I really want to be known for what I do as a writer in terms of content. So I decided to play around with it. And about a year and a half ago, I changed it. I just decided instead of just Katy Ursta, in my username, it would be @KatyWritesContent. It's memorable. There's a little bit of like alliteration going on in there. Not alliteration, but it pops. But it also does showcase what I specialize in. So here are a couple other examples I have seen that are really good. Melanie Mitchell, of course. Hi, period. It's me, Jen. Kind of memorable. Or Tall Blonde Belle. Kind of memorable. Curvy, fit, mom, Mandy. All of these are really great, but I like too that some of them showcase what somebody specializes in or what you kind of get by being there. You can absolutely just use your name. You just want to ask yourself, is it searchable? If it's too common, you really want to say to yourself, all right, how can I add a little bit of flair or personality to the username? Lots of underscores, lots of dashes, they're going to be distracting. So here is what I want you to do in step number 1. Look at your new username. Is it searchable? Is it memorable? Is it easy to find? If you want, does it showcase your personality in some way? Okay. The second thing we need to talk about is the name field. Now, the name field is what is right underneath your profile picture. You are searchable by name field as well. Some people keep their username and their name field the same. You can do that. For me, my username is @KatyWritesContent, but I want to be searchable by my name, which is Katy Ursta. So I put Katy Ursta in the name field. But I also want you to do one more thing with your name field. You also want to think about SEO. People search for common key terms that you want to be associated with. So along with your name, in terms of SEO, you also want to ask yourself, okay, how do I want to be searchable? So a couple of examples that I want to give for you. I have one example of name, Amanda Beechtree. Well, what did she want to be known as? A fitness mentor. She put that in the name field as well. The second one that I want to give you, we have Shannon Swinsko. If you have not listened to the podcast episode 240 where she talks about her branding experience, just a shameless plug for a second. It was really good and worth listening to. But she has Simple Meals. She wants to be known for simple meals, and it's also something you can assume people are going to find on her page. Another one, Katie Leak. What does she want to be known for? That's her first and last name. What does she want to be known for? Morning skincare routines. When you look at the username and then you look at the name field, you want to really think about SEO in terms of what are people searching for and how does it showcase on my bio? Okay. Remember too that when you have something like Amanda, and then you don't really have a last name in there, Amanda, but then you have something like living my best life or Jesus is king, whatever. Those things aren't really searchable. No one's going out and searching for those terms. So let's change it up and be very focused on what we serve someone. First, last name, and then what we serve somebody. All right, now we're gonna go into the bio. Like I said, this is going to be a general overview of the bio. So I really do encourage you to head into the show notes, look at that free resource, download it. You're going to want your hands on it because I go into detail about what to do with your bio. But let's do a quick overview. Nobody is reading your bio going, okay, wine girl, dog mom, Jesus lover, John 3:16. That doesn't tell anybody anything. It really isn't going to be there to serve anyone. So you really want to say to yourself, the bio is the first place people get a feel for what I do for them. Remember, when you help more people get what they want, you in turn get what you want. And that starts really with your bio. Your bio is sort of that first peek. It's that first look into what you do and how you serve. So people really want to know, all right, what is this page all about? But also, what do I get by sticking around? So I like to think of it as like 4 lines, and this is how I kind of divide them up. The first line is really identifying how you serve uniquely. The second line is your credibility. What makes you credible, or if you don't feel as though you have established credibility, really thinking about what makes you unique. The third line is going to be what you get as the follower by sticking around, like what you can anticipate that's going to happen on this page often. And then the last one is what you want them to do. So it's kind of your call to action. So when I break this down and I look at those four, I go, I want to make sure that it's very centered on my audience. I'm not thinking about like just what's in it for me. Sure, if I want to show a little flair, a little pop of personality, and I have enough space to do that, I can. But what I'm really thinking about is if somebody comes to this page, do they know my doors are open for business? And if all you're listing is why you love wine, that you're a dog mom, that you have 2 kids, like all about you, you haven't showcased what you can do and what you offer up front. So think of your bio in terms of how it showcases how you serve. So again, those 4 lines in the bio are number 1, how you serve uniquely. Number 2, what's your credibility? Number 3, what do you get by sticking around? Or what does your audience get by sticking around? And number 4, what's their call to action, which they do right away with your content? So here's a couple of examples. And again, I really encourage you to download that free resource. It's incredible. It will guide you through it, and you'll have a lot of information. Okay, so first one is example. If I think about how you serve uniquely, let's say you're in the weight loss. So instead of just saying body partner, what if you say something like, I help you stop counting calories and start living, right? Bold statement, and it speaks right to an ideal client who has maybe spent a lot of time counting calories and is kind of sick of it. The second line is 75 pounds naturally. So that line really shows, okay, here's the credibility. This is why somebody is credible in the space. They have actually done what I, as the follower, want to be able to do. Then in the third line, I'm probably going to give what you can expect on this page. So for me, this might be something like healthy recipe reels, which means I better consistently be giving my audience some healthy recipe reels. And then the final one is the call to action. Maybe it's work with me. Maybe it's download something. Maybe it is sign up for a newsletter. Whatever it might be, you have to call them to action in some way. So step number 3 is being clear about what your bio looks like, how it feels, what's inside of it. Number 4, this one is big. And please, I come in peace. I really do. I'm not trying to start a riot, not trying to start a fight. But when it comes to the links, you don't need 30 of them. You don't. Nobody's clicking on 30 links. In fact, if you have more than 4, you're actually creating confusion for your audience. So if you are using Linktree and you're like, I got to give everybody every link. I got to give them my Amazon affiliate. I got to give them my discount code for my skincare. I got to give them my link to order my morning go-go juice. I got to give them this. I got to give them that. I got to give them that. First thing to know is stop. Just stop. You want to be marketing a very specific thing. So anytime you have more than 3 or 4, your audience is already confused. They're like, what do I click? Who am I? What do I do? So instead, really think about what are the most important links that I want to include that will maybe capture just what I'm marketing right now. So it could be timely, or that gives them something. It's for them. So even when I am thinking about my audience clicking on a link, I am thinking, what do I have to give them? It could be a discovery call. It could be a downloadable. It could be your discount code. It could be something that they stand to benefit from. All right. So our first part of the conversation today is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. We're going to roll up our sleeves. If you're in the car driving and you can't put this down, I don't want you looking at your phone all distracted. That's not what we're doing today. What I want you to do is I want you to actually go through these 4 things. Number 1, your username. If it's confusing, we're losing people. Number 2, that name field. We got to bump up that SEO. We're going to optimize. So that means, I don't know why I did like this pumping arm, like optimize. That was weird. That was so weird. So then we're going to look at our name field and we're going to make sure we have our first and our last name because we got to be searchable. But we also want to let people know what they can come to this page and get from us, like who we are and what we do for somebody else. Then we're going to get really granular with that bio. And I know you're going to download that free resource because it's legit and it's going to actually help you. And we're going to look at those 4 things our bio should include to simplify it. Thinking about how somebody is looking at our content, being clear about how we serve. And then finally, we're going to just stop with the 30 links in our bio. Really, we don't need more than 3 or 4. And we're saying, does what I'm linking benefit my ideal client in some way? So I've given you a lot to think about today. You have a call to action. You are going to start looking at your bio a little differently. We're going to give it that professional elevation and we're going to get to work. So here's the deal. If you give your bio an upgrade, I want you to tag me on Instagram. Take a screenshot of your bio, put it in your stories, and just say, I elevated my bio, and tag me, and I will give you a shout out on my Instagram as well. But I want to see what you're doing. I want to see if I'm helping you. I want to see that you're implementing, because that's why I'm here. This is what I love doing. So excited that I got to share those tips with you. There's going to be more coming later. But before I leave, one quick thing that I want to share with you is a quick testimonial. Now, I know that many of you know that I actually work with people who want to elevate their brand. I do one-on-one sessions called the Chic Branding Experience. That is an entire experience that's designed in 4 phases. And in those 4 phases, we provide intake, we do an audit, we do a session, and then you get a PDF that is designed specifically for you to help you elevate your brand. And you also get a month of mentorship with a social media mentor. And I wanted to share with you a testimonial from one of my clients. I signed a working coach today, and I find it so fascinating that she aligns so well with the ideal teammate you store out in the PDF, the Chic Branding PDF. I highlighted so many things that she wrote that are pretty much word for word aligned with the problems, desires, and solutions section of my branding PDF. People, that is on purpose. When you work with me, I am committed to helping you figure out who that ideal client is, most importantly, how you can serve them and begin to scale in the industry. So you guys, thank you so much for this week's episode. I loved spending time with you. Make sure you tag me over on Instagram at Katy Writes Content, and I'll see you next time.
All right, so if you loved today's episode, make sure you head over to wherever you listened to the episode today and leave us a rating and review. And also take a little screenshot and tag us on Chic Influencer. We'll feature you in our stories. Plus, we'd love to get your feedback and hear from our listeners.
Until next week, let's make chic happen.